The 2023 running back class has a lot of players that profile as quality NFL starters, but they don't have a Jonathan Taylor, despite having a Bijan Robinson. Today, we're going to talk about TreVeyon Henderson and why he could be that next Jonathan Taylor. Let's get into it. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Devy YouTube channel. Today, we are talking about TreVeyon Henderson, the Ohio State running back that had kind of a down sophomore season, which we'll talk about why that may be. But it's really put people off of him. There are people that have moved him out of their number one spot in terms of the 2024 NFL draft. And we're going to talk about why that is a mistake and why TreVeyon Henderson should absolutely be the number one running back off the board in 2024 rookie drafts, but also probably a first round pick when we get down to it. We're going to talk about his numbers, his strengths and weaknesses from a film perspective, what I want to see out of him in 2023, and everything to get you ready for the 2024 NFL draft, which sounds like it's far away, but it's right around the corner. So let's get into it. TreVeyon Henderson is a 2024 prospect, 5'10", 214. We're going to talk about his numbers here first. So 13 games as a freshman, 183 attempts, 1,248 yards for an average of 6.8 per attempt, 15 touchdowns, and he added 27 receptions for 312 yards and 4 touchdowns through the air. 2022 was a different story. 8 games, 107 attempts, 571 yards, still averaged over 5 yards per carry, and 6 touchdowns, just 4 receptions for 28 yards and a touchdown. Um, these numbers up here from Pro Football Focus are from his 2021 season. The reason these numbers are from 2021 is because TreVeyon Henderson battled a foot injury for a majority of the 2022 season. It was very apparent on his film that he was not healthy. There were games where you could tell that he was feeling better, but it seemed like every time he got back in there, he would tweak it. There were things that you could see on his film that he he was kind of laboring out there. He was kind of favoring that foot, and he actually just got cleared. As I record this video, he got cleared a day and a half ago now. So it's looking like the trend is upward for TreVeyon Henderson's health in 2023. But let's get into the numbers. 4.31 yards after contact per attempt. Really, really good number. It's actually interesting because when we get to the film breakdown, I actually thought that was a piece of his game in 2022 that needed to improve a little bit, was his ability to break tackles. I think we'll get into that. 50 missed tackles forced. To put that into perspective, the same year Bijan had, I believe, 72 or 79, something like that. So he was quite a good ways below Bijan Robinson as a sophomore. I have pretty good faith that he would have forced more missed tackles had he been healthy in 2022, but alas, we don't really know what that would have looked like. 47.5 breakaway percentage. So this is one of their stats where it's tracking your 15 plus yard runs, and he had a ton of them. And that is apparent on his film. He is a big play type of running back that can really hit a home run, hence the Jonathan Taylor discussion and the reason we're bringing his name up with Jonathan Taylor. And then 116.9 elusive rating. That was in the top 50 in 2021, but it wasn't an elite number by any means. There were guys that were in the 180s, and I believe the highest was actually above 200. So not the most elite elusive rating, but still an elusive player for sure. Uh, let's get into his strengths and weaknesses. So film breakdown here. Strengths, incredible fluidity. You can see how great of an athlete he is every time he touches the ball. There are times when he is running, he's in the open field, and he's just got an ability, an innate ability to, you know, show that he's going one way and break the other way very, very quickly. Um, it's actually kind of difficult to explain how remarkable it is when he's in the open field. He makes defenders look silly when he's out in the open field, and I can't imagine what it feels like to try to tackle a guy that can move that fast with that much fluidity. It's a remarkable thing. And we talk about traits versus skill. TreVeyon Henderson has every single trait that you would ever ask for from a running back. He is the perfect package in terms of that aspect of it. Speaking of which, long speed and burst kind of go together, but TreVeyon Henderson is going to blaze in the 40 if he ends up running one. The long speed is very apparent on his film. There are times where he outruns guys that actually have angles on him and fairly easily. Now, he is probably the best athlete on every single football field that he gets onto, but I think it's worth noting that he's doing this against Big Ten competition, and he did it at an incredible rate in his 2021 season, hence the 1,200 yards. I believe he broke the freshman rushing record for Ohio State that his first year there. So just incredible long speed. He had a ton of big plays, and then the burst. I think the burst is more important than the long speed, but the long speed is just an added bonus for if a guy can be that next level type of running back. But the burst, the runs between 5 to 15 yards are just as important as the rare 60, 70-yard breakaway runs. I think long speed is one of the more overrated aspects of running back play, but TreVeyon Henderson has both. We don't have to worry about that. He's got incredible burst, and he's consistently getting at least 5 yards per carry. And then footwork, for a guy his size, 214 pounds, he's got really quick feet. I think that in the 2022 season, there were times where that wasn't necessarily the case. I think that that foot injury definitely impacted his ability to plant and cut. But when you watch his 2021 film, just he is a natural back there. You see some of these videos of Bijan Robinson in this pre-draft process for 2023, and you think, wow, a guy that big should not be able to move his feet that fast. TreVeyon Henderson's pretty much the same way. He's a little smaller, he's a little thinner, but I think that when it comes down to it, we're going to see those crazy workout videos of just incredible footwork, and that's going to be a highlight of TreVeyon Henderson's film as we move into 2023. So improvement areas. So I don't like to call these weaknesses. I know I already did, but I think there are certainly some areas that TreVeyon Henderson needs to improve in. Number one is health. I think the only thing stopping TreVeyon Henderson from being one of the most elite backs in college football this year would be another injury. Obviously, this one was a pretty serious foot injury that had him out all of spring. He's going to start practicing, I think, this week. He probably started practicing at least in some capacity today as I record this video. And that's great. I mean, I know they're kind of done with their spring practice, but that'll give him some extra time to rest up and get into the summer camp. And honestly, I think that he's going to take over the backfield once again. Vision, I think that TreVeyon Henderson's athleticism certainly he relies on his athleticism quite a bit, and he tends to kick runs out that maybe he doesn't need to. Maybe if he had a little bit more patience and let his blocks develop, he would see these open holes. There's a few plays, even in his most impressive games, where he's got two very clear holes, and he decides to kick outside. Now it works. It works for him because he is able to beat edge defenders outside, and linebackers can rarely catch him, and even cornerbacks struggle to catch him. But as he moves up and as he faces stiffer competition, that kicking outside isn't always going to work. He's going to need to be more, I guess, disciplined as a runner. And I think that's what we're going to see this year. And then contact balance. I mentioned already that his contact balance really was subpar in 2022. I think that there were times that foot injury was bothering him, and you could tell, and he would just go down on first contact. That's not really, I would say this is an improvement area from 2022, but his 2021 film, he has such subtle movements that he is a very tough to tackle guy. But I wouldn't say that he's one of these guys that's going to go through you. He's definitely a guy that'll shift just a little bit one way or another, and that will cause forced missed tackles. but I would like to see him be a little more powerful with his runs. He does finish forward, but I would like to see a little bit more power out of him. And then what am I looking for in 2023? What does he look like behind an unproven offensive line? There are some reports that Ohio State's offensive line has been pretty shaky throughout the spring. I think we're going to see that kind of culminate at the beginning of the 2023 season, and they've got a tough opening few weeks before they get into their cakewalk schedule that they tend to schedule out towards the beginning and beginning half of their schedule at least. I'd really like to see what he looks like behind guys. Now, they've got a guard that's projected to go in the first round next year as well. I think that's definitely going to help him. But there was a lot of turnover. They lost 3 starting offensive linemen. I do believe that there will be some transition period, and we'll have to see if TreVeyon Henderson can overcome that a little bit. Can he take the majority of the workload back? I think, what he did as a freshman was remarkable. I think that when he was on the field, he was certainly the number one running back for Ohio State and by far the best running back. They also have Mayan Williams. They had Dallin Hayden. They have a few guys, Chip Trainum. I think they like a lot of their guys there. But TreVeyon Henderson, when healthy, should be the number one guy. And I want to make sure that I see that this year, right? And then can he stay healthy? Obviously, that's the question for everyone, but especially after the year that he had in 2022, I just really would like to see another healthy year. I think honestly, I would really like to see him bump up a solid 10 pounds. I think he can afford that extra weight. That's going to help his durability. That's going to help him stay on the field. Not saying that his injury was due to durability issues, but I would like to see him bulk up just a little bit so that we can see kind of what he looks like at that weight, because I think that would be a better playing weight for him at the NFL level if he wants to be a workhorse 3 down back. So those are just things I'm looking for this year. I think we're going to get it. The Jonathan Taylor stuff, I think it's warranted, right? I think when you talk about the style of play that TreVeyon Henderson has, I think that he resembles Jonathan Taylor, and even more, I would say that there are more things on his film that translate to the NFL than I saw from Jonathan Taylor as a prospect. I think we're looking at a projected first round running back again. We don't have too many of those, but I think that he would rightfully be drafted in the first round. I don't think he's quite where Bijan Robinson is. Like I said, I'd like to see TreVeyon bulk up a little bit before I'm comfortable with that. But I think that the upside is certainly a little higher than even Bijan just because of that long speed, the burst, the ability to be one of those big play type of guys. Saquon Barkley comes to mind as well as a guy that TreVeyon Henderson models his game after. He's got really great hands. I didn't even mention his ability in the receiving game. He lines up out wide as a slot receiver, similar to Bijan and how Saquon did as well. So there are a lot of things going in TreVeyon's favor. And as we talk about him, he's going to be discussed as, he's not going to get up to the 101 in Superflex in 2024 because Caleb Williams for sure has that locked down, assuming that he keeps his production going as well. But I think a 102 discussion could be had. Marvin Harrison Jr. and some of the other quarterbacks are going to have a stake in that fight there. But I think TreVeyon could absolutely be a comfortable 102, 103 type of player in Superflex mocks when we get down to it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know a lot of Ohio State fans were kind of souring on TreVeyon, so let me know if you're coming back around on him. Also, make sure you subscribe, like this video if you liked it, and as always, if you're interested in more content, we do have more at our Patreon, patreon.com/thedevy Royale. We'll talk to you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching.